Welcome. My name is Dr. Teresa Jeter, and I'm the president of the Ball State Black Alumni Constituent Society. So, good evening and welcome. Thank you for participating in our first virtual and 16th biennial reunion. This marks more than 30 years of Ball State Black alumni gathering together to reminisce and celebrate our successes. I know you all are having a great day with friends, and I'd like to thank our corporate sponsor, First Merchants Bank, and event sponsor, Dr. Demita Williams, along with the Ball State University Office of Institutional Excellence. Today, we've had the opportunity to hear from President Burns, learn about exciting things happening on campus, engage with influential women, and be inspired by Stacy Jenkins. I know many memories have been relived today, and new ones are being formed. So even though we're mostly virtual, it is always great to have you back on campus, and we thank you for participating in our reunion. Our theme, Unstoppable, Connecting 5 Generations, has given Black alumni an opportunity to share the many successes we have accomplished and to take a look at where we are headed. Hearing our history from Alan Williams earlier today, touring the new Multicultural Center, and increasing the numbers and amounts of scholarships for our Black students. I know donations have been rolling in today. I don't know the numbers, but perhaps we'll have that before this evening concludes. But I do know that during our 2021 school year, the Black Alumni Constituent Society and alumni were able to raise $20,000+ in scholarship funds, which is phenomenal. So give yourselves a hand. We're happy about that. Today, over 133 undergraduate students will have received book scholarships, and I believe we have given several endowed scholarship $1,500. And so that is substantial, and we are very thankful. That is one of our goals and mission of the Black Alumni Constituent Society, is to support Black students. So we are honored to have members of the Black Alumni Constituent Society with us tonight. For those of you who are part of the board, can you raise your hand? A couple of you guys, yes, and I know there are several of you guys on the platform. This board has been dedicated to providing the biennial reunions for Alumni Connection and supporting and assisting students through the endowed and book scholarships. Also from the university, we are honored to have Alumni Association staff, Jamie Acton, he's running around doing his thing. And then we also have Sue Taylor, recently retired Director of Alumni Collegiate and Affinity Programs. Hi, Sue, who worked with us for how many years, 20-something years?
Almost 30 total, but 23 most recently, yes.
Awesome. And we miss you, Sue.
Miss you too.
We miss you. So at this time, they're not expecting this, but I would like for Sue Taylor to come up to the podium, please. That's great. On behalf of the Ball State University Black Alumni Constituent Society, I'm honored to give you the President's Award to you this day, July 31st, 2021, in appreciation for your years of dedicated support in service to the Ball State University Black Alumni Constituent Society. Let's congratulate Sue for her Presidential Award. You're welcome. She said, "What am I doing here?" I'm thinking, okay. Now you found out, right? All right. We have another award for Alan Williams. I don't know if he'll be here this evening. He took ill earlier today, so he might not be here, but Alan has served not only the Ball State Black Alumni Constituent Society Board, but he has served this university in so many capacities. He was once the president of the Alumni Council, and so he has served again this university in so many ways. And if you've not checked the link at Berkeley Library, we have it on the platform. There is a link to the archive of Alan Williams, a lot of history regarding Black students and alums from this university. And so I'm so happy that he started that information. So we'll make sure that he gets this. So congratulations to Alan Williams on his President's Award. At this time, to remember and honor Black alumni who passed on, we will have our prayer and memorial candle lighting. First, Stephon Jones will give the prayer, and then Dr. Amina Payne will light the candle virtually.
Thank you, Dr. Jeter. Thank you, everyone who's in attendance today. Thank you, everyone who is online. We are so proud and so gracious of your presence and taking the time out. We've had such a good time. I can't wait for us to get back together. We've had a historical afternoon. So much history is in this room in all generations. I'm just so excited to see what's left to come. But if everyone will bow their heads. Lord Heavenly Father, we just want to thank you for this opportunity to, again, come together and serve you. Lord, we know that you have been the light of our lives, and that nothing is possible without you being a part of it. And we just thank you for being there for us and our families and every generation here at Ball State and beyond. We want to thank you for all those who travel far away, those who are in the sound of my voice. We want you to bless them and their families. We want to look forward to a time that we can gather again. But we want to take away from this day, Heavenly Father, that we walk away with a message of commitment, a message of service, just like you serve us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
At this time, I light this candle in honor and in memoriam of those who attended Ball State University and who are our fellow alum and who are no longer with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Payne. Appreciate it. At this time, I have the distinct honor of being selected to introduce tonight's keynote speaker. And I can tell you that I had a recent occasion of joining the board, the opportunity to be in the witness of his presence. I've had the opportunity to be sitting with him now as a member of the Alumni Council, and I have an opportunity to have a few conversations privately with him, and it just gives me great honor. First of all, I'd like to say he is a fellow alumni. He told me not to say the class. We don't want, those of us who've been around for a few years, we won't say that. But I would tell you, he was not only a student, he also was a student athlete and a star athlete. And being an athlete myself here at Ball State, I know that's not an easy task, but for someone to make it through as a student successfully, to be an athlete and a standout athlete at that, and take the experiences that he had here and go out into the community to be a very accomplished corporate executive, to now be a CEO of his own company, and also to be an entrepreneur. And most of all, he's a motivator. He's not here tonight to speak to you. He's here tonight to have a conversation. He's here tonight to leave us with something that we can take away with and go out and do something. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you and present to others, Trustee Henry Hall.
Good evening, everyone. As he said, I'm Henry Hall. in preparation for this, it was a challenge for me. This is probably only the second time in my adult life that I've been asked to give any kind of presentation. And so I started researching, okay, what's the best way to do that? And watched a bunch of YouTube videos as people do today. And what I found is the best thing to do is just to be honest, right? Be yourself, be who you are. So who I am at the moment is someone who's extremely nervous, someone who is going to kind of follow a script that I found online. And I think the best attribute I have is just to be genuine. So I'll try and do that as I go through my talk. I'm not, at least I don't consider myself to be a motivational speaker. I just try and be me. I've learned through the years that trying to imitate others is a handicap. Thank you. And I've also learned that I should be proud of who I am. And I'll just share something really quick, just as an icebreaker, as we're supposed to do. I learned really early on. We're here to celebrate the theme Unstoppable, Connecting 5 Generations. Miss Jessie Nixon graduated in 1925. My father was born in 1924. And for me, learning that she graduated from this university in 1925, knowing that my father wanted to attend the University of Alabama and was denied because of his race, it was somewhat refreshing to hear about my alma mater, that they were that progressive then, and fast forward to now. So I'm pleased to represent the university as a trustee. But the thing I learned very early on at the feet of my father was that I was going to have to work twice as hard than my white counterparts. I was going to have to be just as qualified as my white counterparts. As a young child, I was probably 6 or 7. That's kind of daunting to hear. It's challenging to hear. And then I heard Miss Ella talk about being asked to sit in the back of the bus. Well, I think for us, as people living in this time, we should stand up at every opportunity we have. We should tell other people the truth. This is not about cancel culture. We wouldn't have to cancel culture if people told the whole truth. There's so much of our history that is untold. Come on in. There's so much of our history that is untold. It's up to us to go find it. It's there. We don't have to rely on the U.S. version. There's a version from England. There's a version from Ghana. There's a version from France. We don't just have to rely on American history. One of the things I learned, can you guys hear that? Can you dial it down just a little bit? One of the things I learned when I was part of Fort Wayne Urban League, we had a Remembering the Lions dinner. And in that dinner, we celebrated those who had come before us and prepared the way. But the story kind of centered around that the story of the hunt will always promote the hunter and not the lion, right? We understand that. We understand what that means. And so when we view our own history, even our history at Ball State, it's up to us to tell our story. All right, so I'll start my speech now. Or not speech, but whatever this is. I'd like to thank Dr. Jeter and the rest of the Black Alumni Constituent Society for inviting me to speak here, specifically Stefan. I'm pretty good friends with the frat brother of yours, Bert Chan Johnson. Hopefully he's listening. Miss Monique, David Jones, also a former Ball State football player, Pamela Morris, and the reunion committee. Again, Stefan and Monique, Brent Lyle, Mr. Professor, I'm told, Dr. Demeter Williams, Alan Williams, Kyle Williams. And as I go through this list, I'm just going to say some things that come to mind. Ball State really has three arms: the university, the foundation, and alumni association. Kyle has kind of followed in Hollis's footsteps as a member of our foundation. He's a great representative of us as people of color, particularly Black people, and he promotes everything that is good and true about who we are as Black people. Also, thank you for thanking the sponsors. I won't do that a third time. If you'll bear with me, I'd like to share the Board of Trustees. If you can pull up that slide. And since I'm older than 20, I'm gonna have to use my glasses. Some of you may know the faces up here, but we have Renee Conlon. I don't know that she's the first female chair, but she certainly is a good one. Formerly from Muncie. She ran a national utility in the state of Louisiana. We have Matt Momper, Mike McDaniels, Brian Gallagher, like me, he's an appointed representative of the Alumni Association. That's me with my 5th grade cheese smile. Rick Hall, Gene Harcourt, Mark Hardwick, and Amy Weiss. The former student trustee, she just stepped down, was Rebecca Mena. And the thing I really want us to note is the diversity on the board. Now, I may be the only Black, but I'm certainly not the only thing that people would consider diverse. In our history, what we've usually seen is all white men. We can say it is true. What we've usually seen is all white men. I think the governor, who is actually appoints trustees, I think he, along with our leader and President Mearns, has made a decision that diversity is important. We embrace it. We should value it. If you go to the next slide, you guys saw this guy give the welcoming speech. I just want to share a little bit with you about President Mearns. He is a man of integrity. He also was a former college athlete. I believe he ran cross country at Yale. But if you ever get the opportunity to meet him, sit and have a conversation with him, you will understand that he and his wife are committed to making our university better. There's no question, if you spend 5 minutes with the man, you will know that he is committed. This whole idea of diversity and inclusion, he brought it with him. He is serious about it. I think that can be evidenced by the next slide. This is his cabinet. Top left, we have the provost, woman of color. She's a Latina. Jean, who runs the foundation. Sally, who is our general counsel. Alan Finn, who runs the finances. And then there's Beth. Beth, I believe, I could be wrong, I don't think that I am, first female athletic director here at the university, or Ball State University. First one. I heard it mentioned earlier today that she had a pretty successful run this past year. Football team won the MAC championship, also won its first bowl game ever, and kicked the crap. That's really not what I want to say, but kicked the crap out of San Jose State, right? I believe our women's tennis team won the MAC championship. Baseball and softball, I think, were runner-ups. So women's doing a phenomenal job proving, yet again, that diversity works. It's important. We have Paula Luff. She's been here a couple years. She signed on with us 2 months before we shut down, or 2 months after we shut down for COVID. One of her lessons she learned is, don't start a new job during COVID. We have Lauren Mong, and Lauren will be extremely important as we move forward in the university's plan. We're hell-bent on finding ways to digitally connect the university, the students, the alumni. He and his team are going to be a big part of that. And then I come down to Rowan. How many people have met Rowan? Again, another person you want to get to meet. I believe she is the first Black person to run student affairs, not only first Black woman to run student affairs. She is doing good work here. I'm going to challenge you later on in my discussion or my conversation to be part of that effort. And then there is Kathy Wolf with communication. Hopefully you're receiving your alumni magazine. She plays a big role in that, along with Jamie and others. There is, I'll skip over Sue for a second, but Rebecca Pulse, she represents us down at the State House. She's our lobbying advocate for the university. Going back to Sue, Sue is retiring. She's given us a date. I believe she's done at the end of the year. She's our chief strategy officer. Jeff brought her with him from Northern Kentucky. Her replacement shouldn't be someone new to the university. She's worked here before. I'm told she worked here countless years. Will be Dr. Charlene Alexander. She will replace Sue Hodges-Moore. I see the other Sue clapping. I'm told, I have not met her, I've not had the pleasure of meeting her, but I am told she is just going to follow in step where Sue left off and again lead us forward. It was mentioned earlier that we developed a plan, a 2040 plan, how to get from here to there. She is going to be a big part of helping President Mearns and the rest of the cabinet implement that plan. So again, I wanted to spend a lot of time here because I wanted you to see the diversity in the team. A number of women, and people of color. Am I the only one who sees that? It should be clear that we have a president in the university that believes in diversity. You can give me it for a second. There are a couple of people that are not noted there. You met one of them earlier today. These are key hires from him and his staff. Dr. Marsha McGriff. I have to keep taking these on and off. I apologize. Other than that, I can't say. She serves as the Associate Vice President of Inclusion Excellence. She, as a young man, works for her, former student athlete here at Ball State, Paris McCurdy. He is the Director of Community Diversity Initiative. Dr. Jeter could probably attest to this and several others, those from the Muncie community. One of the things we're trying to do as a university is connect with the community. I don't know about you, but the only thing I was interested in doing in the Muncie community was going to Q. I was get some ribs. That was it. Beyond that, I had really no interest. That was her father. I had no interest in going anywhere else. And I think consequently, because me and other students thought like that, they really had no interest in coming to support us. Dr. McGriff and Paris McCurdy are leading the effort to change the tone. That, along with our collaboration with Muncie Community School System, that is going better, a lot better than anyone could have ever hoped. Our Teachers College and the rest of the university is wrapping their arms around the Muncie Community School System, and it's working. It's working. I challenge you to stay abreast of it. Read about it in the paper. Call back, send the school system texts, emails, whatever you want to do. I think the other thing people need to hear is they need to hear a good job or job well done. We don't often hear that enough as worker bees. So if you could take the time, I'd appreciate it. Two more people, Dr. Karen Lee, she's a deputy athletic director. Again, person of color. By the way, Paris McCurdy is a person of color. Haven Fields, another deputy director of athletics, person of color. I'm not here to tell you that every hire is going to be a woman or a person of color, because it's not. That wouldn't be in keeping step with being diverse, would it? But what I will tell you is that the university is making a conscious effort to be diverse. Ms. Ella, I heard you talk about things that happened when you were here, things that you felt were done wrong or certainly mistreated. Hopefully things like that are no longer happening here. I appreciate you being a part of the change. I'm going to go back and forth here. Now, again, I apologize. Bobby Steele, another man of color. He's going to run our multicultural center. Again, what I'm trying to express to you is that the university is not trying, they're doing. I'd be remiss if I didn't roll back my conversation and acknowledge Hollis Hughes. If you thought that I was the first Black trustee, you would be wrong. There have been others before me. This man has been a great mentor to me. If you could wave, let people know who you are. The room, I believe that we are residing in is named in his honor. And it's well deserved. When I was a football athlete here, I use that term loosely. I had a lot of challenges. It just came with a lot of baggage. I was a mean, challenged young man, just full of a lot of things that are not good. If you like sleeping, I didn't come from the ghetto. It's not where I was raised. I was raised in the hood, but it wasn't a ghetto. But it taught me to be harsh, cold, always on guard. And the next person helped me through a lot of that. Dr. Ciola Digby-Berry was also a trustee. When I was here, she was like my second mom. When the world came crashing in, I crashed at her house. Her and her husband, Walter, would just have conversations with me about what do you want? How do you want to live? What kind of example do you want to set for your teammates? And just countless hours working with you. Again, it's important. We collectively have a lot of work to do with our current students and fellow alumni. You can go ahead and move forward. I'm not going to stay on these slides long, but some people are more visual, so I wanted you to have the ability to see them. And I'll just run through 3 slides real quick. There's more, but what you probably need to hear is that Ball State and the academic year 2021 graduated 3,408 students. 284 were Black. A total of 18% were considered minorities. That is Black, Hispanic, Asian, Native American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, unknown, 2 or more races. 18%. I think minority population in the state of Indiana is around 22%. Let me correct that. The Black population in the state of Indiana is around 22%. Graduate degrees conferred. We, in 2021, let me go back, I'm sorry. In 2018, the number was 15%, so we've risen from 15% to 18%, which sounds good, and it is, but we can do better. Graduate degrees conferred to minority students, 140 out of 2,424. Again, not bad, but we can do better. You can keep rolling through. Actually, go all the way through. Get rid of it. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Thanks. Keep going. You can go through all those. I think I'm pretty much done with all those slides. I don't think you have to work anymore. You can leave that one up. People may want to read it. Minority full-time tenure or tenure track faculty. 21 Blacks out of 604. We do have, however, 19% of that number, 604, represents the minorities or underrepresented faculty, tenure track on campus. I was having a conversation with Hollis and talking about, the struggles of some of these statistics. They imply that Black people aren't achieving. They imply that the university is doing it, it's making an effort, but it doesn't seem like we're making such a big impact. The truth of the matter is, a Black student with a high GPA or a high SAT score can go anywhere, probably anywhere they choose. The real question is, how are we, those in this room and online, how are we going to make Ball State University the university they choose? We have the ability to increase that number. It's not only left up to the faculty. It's not only left up to the marketing people in enrollment. It is not. It is up to people like us in this room. We have a bigger impact on recommending or endorsing, I should say, Ball State University than any newspaper, than any statistic out there. Our voice, people value us. We've come before them. They value what we say. Are we saying it? What are we telling the children who are looking at colleges? Do we mention Ball State? Really? How many of you mention Ball State when somebody says, hey, you thinking about going to school for nursing? I can imagine one, right? Or for architecture, or for business, entrepreneurship, College of Fine Arts, College of Communications. How often are we promoting the university? That's a challenge. It's kind of like church. Don't raise your hand, but you know. When Stefan asked me to speak, a million and one things went through my mind about what to talk about. He said unstoppable, connecting 5 generations. The first thing that came to my mind were people like Sojourner Truth, people like Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, Marcus Garvey, James Baldwin, W.B. Du Bois, Langston Hughes, Medgar Evers, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and a whole host of other people. Marcus Garvey was my favorite. I was sharing with Stefan, and I'll get into this talk in just a minute. He was my favorite because he expected us to be great. The Nation of Islam later kind of took some of his teachings, but the expectation was different. The expectation of who we were and what we could achieve was different. I think that's what our kids are longing for today, us to challenge them to be better. So, I forgot what Muhammad Ali, that guy was a beast. So I'm told when you give speeches and things like that, you're supposed to give quotes. So if people they can't co-sign for you, you might be able to have somebody else co-sign for you. So I have a few. And this one stuck out to me because it talks about change. This is a quote from Angela Davis. You may know it. I happen to like the sister for more than one reason. One, she was cute. Two, she had a gap like me. So I thought that was super cool. And she said, I am no longer willing, or I am no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I'm changing the things I cannot accept. And I thought that was a good play on words, but I think she also believed it. So when I hear Miss Ella talking about protesting, being dragged off a bus, hauled down to the police station, I think about my father going to war and coming home and the country really not embracing him. Or I think about things like what I believe is the murder of George Floyd. Those are things we cannot continue to accept. When I hear Stacey talk about the aggrieved, those are not the words that I would choose. This is not public television, right? Yeah, I'd be mad as hell. We should be. It should be a call to action. All of us should get involved. I'm talking to me too. We should all be more involved. A couple other quotes. This one was one my father used to recite all the time when he would talk about getting an education and what it meant to him. The more you use your mind, the less you'll have to use your behind. Anybody know who that's credited to? To the ministers in the house, Reverend I remember my father would say that it was at least once a week, once a month, but he meant every word. He wanted his children to get some form of education, the education that he was denied. He wanted us to have some sense that we could do better, and I thought that was important. The other one was from my mother. And my mother was not a chess player, but this is what she would always tell us. Life is like a game of chess. When you choose your moves, choose wisely. And I never saw my mom play a game of chess. I don't know where she heard it, where she got it from. But it stuck with me over the years. The other part she would often add is, your choices have consequences. Right? They do. I look at Stefan and Mr. Williams over here, and even Hollis. We're not the smallest stature men, are we? So one of the things that I'm often troubled by is that I have one of the choices in life taken away from me. What I mean by that is, Candace, my girlfriend is here. She's heard me say this a couple times. You go out drinking, you go out having fun. There's choices I have to make. So I can't be black, big, and out of control. I can't be all three. My white counterparts can be that all day long. They can cuss a cop out, nothing happens. But those three things at the same time is a recipe for disaster for us. I'm sure you've encountered it. I'm not the only one. But it makes one mindful of his surroundings, doesn't it? I struggle with that. I struggle with shrinking back to make others feel good or safe. I struggle with that as a 50-something-year-old man. I'm 51. But I struggle with that because it's not indicative of who I was taught to be. I was taught to be a man. My mom would say she's raising adults, not children. My father would say, be the man. You have the hall name. Wear it proudly. It should mean something. Shrinking back? Making my counterparts feel comfortable? Should I have to do that? Should you have to do that? Should you have to shrink your knowledge base so that they feel like they still can win, even though you know you want to take them out? Should you have to? I don't think so. Not even here at the university. If we want our university to change, we have to be the change. We have to be the impetus. If we want our university to reflect us and who we are, guess who's going to have to do it? We are. That's the truth. We have young men here trying to do it. I know David Jones, he puts his money where his mouth is. He spends a lot of time here. I know Dr. Williams spends a lot of time here. Spend a lot of time here. You spend a lot of time encouraging others to participate in the process. That's what it's going to take. It's going to take that. Again, I got to stick with my script. So from time to time I get off. Candace is a communications major, and she confirmed this on the ride down. In any speech, you have to tell the audience what you're going to tell them. Then tell them. And then finally tell them what you told them. So the formal part of my speech will begin now, and I know I can be long-winded, so if you need to have a hook, I can stop whenever you need me to. I wanted to go over 3 examples in my life that have happened to me that kind of shaped kind of who I am. And I know this is going to sound familiar to all of you, in some way, shape, or form. I'm going to share with you a few events in my life. The first is when poor expectations allowed my potential to go untapped. How many of you have heard, oh, he's so articulate? I cringe when I hear that. What did you expect of me? I'm an educated man, and even if I wasn't, most of us take English in school. The second thing I'll share about is when my self-worth and my intelligence were challenged. And finally, how placing your trust in the wrong leader can cost you. Do we have time? You should? All right. When I entered the 7th grade, my teachers, administrators, the neighborhood I came from wasn't that well thought of. And so most of us, including myself, were put in all the low-level classes, the classes designed just to get by. I think most of us can attest that that still hurts us, right? You know, low expectations. I think they say the determining factor between a student who will excel and one who gets by is the expectation of the teacher. Well, lucky for me, I had mom at home. By the end of the year, I had pretty much gotten every award you can get academically. And fortunately for me, I pissed off the right people. The children that they thought should have gotten the awards didn't get them. So my 8th grade year, they put me in the hardest classes they could. I got the same awards. For me, it was the inspiration from my mother telling me you can. And I had to kind of find it in myself, you know, all the things that my parents had poured into me, about just how to excel, how to challenge yourself in spite of what other people thought. That transformed me into high school. I can't see that. Hold on. Oh, I got 10 minutes. Okay. I got 10 minutes. Is that when I'm supposed to begin wrapping up? That's when I need to be wrapped up. All right. We'll breeze through these. And if I have to cut the last one off, I will, or lose something. I got to high school. I was met by Dr. Eugene White. How many people know Dr. White? Dr. White was 6'3", about 240, and could still slam the basketball. Brother, I believe he went to Alabama A&M. And we didn't need Shaft because we had Dr. White. He was the coolest thing walking. And what he did for me was, one, he was an example that I could be Black and achieve, right? So him, along with Angela Love, math teacher, Black, Brenda Gates James, science teacher, Black, and Nancy Morgan. Nancy Morgan was my honors English teacher. She was a white woman. Her husband was retired military. Most of the troops that he commanded happened to be Black. She had entertained Black soldiers in her home and made them feel welcome. And so the first day of class, honors English, it's the minorities in the room, is an American Indian, Black girl, Henry Hall. Second day of class, only minority in class, Henry Hall. They's like, yeah, we not taking this class. So, third day in the class, Miss Nancy Morgan, to her credit, called me in the hallway. I'm assuming she got some direction from Dr. White. She says, every question that no one raises their hand to answer, just know I'm calling on you. You have to be twice as good to get the job you want. You should start now. To have that confirmation, you know, all the times my father has said, you're gonna have to be twice as good. You're gonna have to work twice as hard. I now have a white woman confirming that fact. I felt like the weight of the world had been placed on my shoulders. But the thing I want us to take away from that conversation is who is there behind me, holding me up, challenging me to be better. There were faces that looked like mine and others, but they were challenging me to be better, and they made themselves available. I left high school, came here, got a degree in finance, concentration in accounting, began my work in the banking industry, and I was a credit analyst, and really all that means is I evaluate commercial loans. And I thought I was pretty good. They did too. But I had this one loan officer who wanted his buddy to get a loan. So he told me to write the review up so his buddy could get a loan. You know, some days you're challenged, right, to do what you know you should do, or give in to the pressures of those above you. Again, I'm a bit rebellious, a bit bullheaded. I did not write the review in that fashion. I did not think the man deserved the loan. He took that review to loan committee. People started reading the review, and he says, so you're here to get the loan denied? I'm downstairs in my office. Well, needless to say, they went round and round. I was called to loan committee. The chair at that time said, well, why did you write the loan review this way? I said, because it's how I believe it should have been written. I believe what I wrote. The loan officer was heated, clearly, turned red. Yeah, it's a good thing I can't see that. No, she told me 5 minutes. I couldn't see it. It's okay. It's okay. I'm good. I can wrap this up. So what happened was they took me and asked me to review the loan in loan committee. I was a credit analyst. I was not a lender at the time. And I went through why I didn't think the guy deserved a loan. They dismissed me. And then I guess they dealt with the loan officer. And so the challenge was, how do you kind of define your direct support when you know that what you've been taught should override it? I don't know. I guess I was just bullheaded enough and pissed off enough that I did. It worked out for me. I got half his loan accounts. They promoted me the same day. And I became actually ultimately the first vice president of that bank, the first person of color. The other thing that's significant about this, and I'll use this to kind of close out some of my remarks. The other thing that's significant about that is one of my customers that I got from that loan officer. After working with me for 2 years, his sales increased by 25%, his profits increased by 50%. I know what I'm doing when it comes to money. I'm pretty good at it. I can add, subtract, divide, multiply with the best calculator in the world. I can do it. And I did it well. What that customer did for me, and something I'm not sure we've addressed here, that customer happened to be Macedonian, and invited me to lunch over the period of the next 12 months and introduced me to every millionaire he knew in business. So I achieved what most people would say is that he was able to give me the cultural capital I needed to excel in that job. Most people aren't looking for a guy who looks like me. Certainly in banking, there are very few of us, and fewer on the commercial side. So again, kind of one of the things I want to point out, it happened to be maybe not the white Anglo-Saxon that most people think, but it was a Macedonian man who believed in me, believed in my skill, and thought I deserved the right or the chance, the opportunity to succeed. So a couple of things, and I'm wrapping this up, I promise you. The common thread in both those messages is that I needed help. And when I needed help, someone was there to help me. This university needs help. We have a plan for 2040. If you want the flight plan, you can request it. Jamie's office will make sure you get it. If you want to know what's in that plan, read it. Figure out where you can help guide this university. Each college, most colleges, I can't say each, have advisory boards. Get on one. They're looking for you. They want you. They want your talents. They want your knowledge. They want to know how to be better. The other thing, Jamie, I think we launched Cardinal Connect last year? Like 2 years ago? It's essentially a mentoring program. Our kids need us too. It's important. They need to see people who look like them in positions they want. So my challenge to you is, are you going to get involved? Those are two easy things to do. Most of them will require less than a couple hours a month. Are you going to get involved? Are you going to participate in the process? It's necessary. I know Dr. Williams and others, shelled out some money to put the event on as a sponsor. If you believe in it, you'll put your money towards it. Thank you for believing in us as Black alumni. Thank you for believing in Ball State University, but there's others of us who can do the same thing. We just got to want it. We got to want to change. And so my drop the mic moment, since this one is connected to the stand, is a quote from my main man, Marcus Garvey. It says that the ends you serve that are selfish will take you no further than yourself. But the ends that you serve that are for all in common will take you into eternity. My challenge is that you help take Ball State into eternity, help this university exist beyond you, beyond your children, beyond your grandchildren, and help us to become that lighthouse where everyone, including Black people, feel safe and know that they can succeed, excel. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Hall, for your remarks and for challenging each of us to get involved. Thank you so much. Before I bring David Jones up here to announce the 3 Black Alumni Awards of Achievement, I want Alan Williams to come up here. I know he's not expecting this, but we have something to give you.
Coming back.
Huh?
It's coming back.
Here.
Okay.
On behalf of the Ball State University Black Alumni Constituent Society, we are awarding you the President's Award on today, July 31st, 2021, in appreciation for your years of dedicated support in service to the Ball State University Black Alumni Constituent Society. So,
Thank you.
here you go.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Thank you. I got it.
And just everybody to know, in the expo, the Alan Williams collection is available to you. you need to go visit it. Mr. Williams, I should call him Doctor, because he has the knowledge, if you haven't had a conversation with him. But he has started a project with Bracken Library in a partnership that has not only led to his digital history that you used to see here live, but you also got the chance to see the video oral history that's on the other tab called the depository. Click on that tab, and the first video you'll see is my mentor, Mr. Hollis Hughes. But there's 70 other great Black alumni that you'll enjoy hearing their story and their testimony. Thank you, Mr. Allen, just again.
So David Jones is coming up to talk about our awardees of achievement. And David is our parliamentarian of the Black Alumni Constituent Society. So come on up, David.
Thank you, Ms. Teresa. Before I begin, Mr. Hall, thank you so much. You said a lot, but for me, from a person that I look up to, my takeaway mostly is around your comments around service. And even though you didn't say it, but you did mention paying it forward. Seeing individuals like yourself, Mr. Jones, obviously Hollis, Mr. Hughes, and Kyle Williams, and other folks, seeing you live out your journey inspires individuals like myself, inspires the next generation, and inspires us to get involved and hopefully pay it forward to those that come behind us. So thank you so much for everything you've done, even in the shadows. Today, the Black Alumni Award Achievement was created in 2007 to recognize alumni who graduated within the past 20 years, who have achieved notable success early in their careers, who also actively support the university and provide service to their communities and to our university. Our first Black Alumni Award Achievement this year recipient is presented to John Williams. When you read his bio, you think he's the president or something, but John has committed his life to the future of young people in many ways. He has been a successful college basketball coach and athletic director. He has served nationally at the NCAA, investing in professional development, diversity, and inclusion, mentoring of young athletic administrative leaders, and running championships. He currently serves as deputy commissioner of the Southland Conference and was recently nominated to the NCAA Division I Basketball Oversight Committee and Division I Council. He is an adoption advocate and has formally adopted 4 children after being a licensed foster parent, but has also raised and housed many more. He actively serves internationally doing mission work in the Dominican Republic for over a decade. Please help me congratulate John.
Thank you very much for this honor, and it is deeply an honor to be honored by your institution that you grew up in as far as got my career started. I came here in 1979 as a young man looking for an opportunity. And like most of you, my parents didn't go to high school either. So I had the opportunity to come here, got a scholarship. I became one of the first African-American basketball assistant coaches here full-time right after I graduated, which was kind of unheard of. And I also pledged Phi Beta Sigma fraternity here. And I also taught classes here as well and received my master's and my undergrad here as well. And then also I have the pleasure of being married to a Ball State alumni for the last 32 years. So I'm a blessed man. And because of this institution, I'm willing to as Mr. Hall said, I'm willing to give back and start working to help. I haven't done that much, but being here today inspires me to do more. And so I'll be back. Thank you very much.
Everyone's recipients have been mailed to your homes. Wow, John, what a great history and background. I will again say that seeing you guys is very important. We can say a lot, but seeing you is definitely important, especially for the next generation of other folks. So hopefully you're present and you encourage others to get present, to be present as well. Our second awardee is Dr. Paul Porter, Inaugural Director of Diversity and Inclusion at University of St. Francis. Dr. Porter is a primary person responsible for the university's diversity and inclusion efforts. He oversees the development and implementation of programs aimed at the successful recruitment and retention of underrepresented students, developing strategic plans and operating policies as a member of the Student Affairs leadership team. Please help me congratulate Dr. Paul. Version.
Hi, everybody. I hope you can hear me okay and there are no technical difficulties. Thank you. This is a real honor. Ball State will always hold a very special place in my heart. And I think when it comes to an award like this, the place is even especially important. Ball State's where I found my blackness. It's where I found that I was black and that it was okay to be black in my own way, that I could hold the traditions of excellence, a high head and high expectations, be loved by the black community, defend the black community, and not necessarily have to prescribe to all of the tropes. I grew up in a space where my blackness was questioned because I didn't behave a certain way, like certain things. And Ball State was where I found that who I am authentically was good enough for that community. And when good enough was no longer enough, I was pushed by my black community to give back to it, to support it, to turn my professional career into work that would create equitable spaces and culturally responsive teaching opportunities that would help those behind me stand on my shoulders as I have stood on many of yours. I have way too many people to thank and not enough time. So I would just say this. Trustee Hall, we met a few years ago and you challenged me to always be a cardinal. This is no more than just one more wonderful, wonderful step. I am always here for you. Chirp, chirp. God bless. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you, Dr. Porter. Our final recipient for the Black Alumni Award Achievement this evening is Herman Smith. Mr. Smith received his Bachelor's of Science from Ball State in Radio and Television Communications. While a student at Ball State, Mr. Smith was the founding photographer of the Black Voice newspaper. Following graduation, Mr. Smith worked for the ABC TV station. After returning to Indianapolis, Mr. Smith worked for Rolls-Royce. A member of Omega Psi Phi, Mr. Smith avidly volunteers with the Youth YMCA Fall Creek program and coached Little League. Congratulations, Herman. Unfortunately, Mr. Smith could not join us tonight. Next up, Monique Armstrong will present the Outstanding Black Alumni Awards. Thank you.
As David said, my name is Monique Armstrong, and I had the privilege of serving along with David and Kyle Williams on the awards selection committee. I also serve as the co-chair of today's reunion and the second vice president of the Black Alumni Constituent Society. The Outstanding Black Alumni Award recognizes the accomplishments of alumni who have demonstrated significant success in their professions and supported their community, state, university, or other organizations, including the Ball State Alumni Association. Though voluntary or public service, they are loyal alumni who pay it forward with their time, talent, and treasure. We are pleased to present 3 Outstanding Alumni Awards this year. The first recipient is a past member of the Black Alumni Constituent Society Board of Directors, Dr. Carrie B. Dixon, who is joining us virtually. Dr. Carrie Dixon is a retired registered nurse and clinical psychologist. She received a diploma in nursing from Holy Cross School of Nursing in 1971, a Bachelor of Science in Psychology from Ball State University in 1980, and a Doctor of Philosophy in Clinical Psychology from the University of South Carolina in 1985. Her psychology practice primarily focused on forensic and disability evaluations. She is a veteran Navy nurse, past Midwest Regional Representative of the International Association of Black Psychologists, current co-chair of the Leadership Development Institute of the International Association of Black Psychologists, current chapter treasurer of the Indiana Association of Black Psychologists, secretary of the Eastern Star Church Senior Saints Ministry, member of the Eastern Star Church Greeters and Servants in Action Ministries, an author and choreographer of an aerobics exercise video entitled Spiritual Aerobics. She has discussed mental health issues on numerous talk shows, most recently All In on WFYI and Community Connection on 1310 The Light. She has been a presenter at several mental health workshops. She has written mental health articles that have been printed in the Indianapolis Recorder and most recently entitled Mind, Body, Spirit, Empowerment. She has 3 adult children. She enjoys vacationing, live theater, comedy, movies, line dancing, and socializing with family and friends. Congratulations, Dr. Carey.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I am so honored, so proud to receive this award. And I was surprised when Monique called me, but I'm just delighted. So, I'm proud to be a member of the Black Alumni Constituent Society. I'm proud to be a graduate of Ball State University. And I just, I would like to thank, Ball State for my degree, my bachelor's degree. When I first got started at Ball State, I came across, or I was directed to an instructor who looked at my nursing degree hours and said, hey, we can waive some classes for you. And I got almost a year waived, and I was delighted. So I thank you all, and I appreciate this honor. And again, I'm very humbled, and this is it. This is beautiful. I love it. Thank you so much. And enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.
Congratulations again, Dr. Carey. Our next recipient is Mrs. Ella Robinson McNary. Formerly a therapeutic dietitian at Ball Hospital, Ms. Ella served as a food production manager at Studebaker Halls here at Ball State University. A native of Florida, she received her Bachelor of Science degrees in Food, Nutrition, and Institutional Management from Florida A&M in 1964 and in 1965. She was awarded her ABA from Miami Valley Hospital Department of Dietetics in Dayton, Ohio. Was the first woman of color to graduate from the Ball State University Dietetics program. While working with the American Dietetic Association, Mrs. McNary urged physicians, health professionals, teachers, and others to combat malnutrition and to inform the public of good eating habits. In addition to her professional success, Mrs. McNary tirelessly served as membership chair of the Muncie chapter of the NAACP many years ago. We had the privilege of hearing from her earlier during our women's panel, but we are excited to present this award to you today, Ms. Ella.
Thank you.
I feel so privileged today to be honored by the Black alumni. I thank you so much. It has been a long journey. And if someone talks to me about it, I can tell you how long it's been. But God has truly blessed me. I thank God for it. I want you to meet my husband, Edward McNeary, over there in the red shirt. That's my husband. He did attend Ball State. We have a son, Edric McNeary. Edric graduated from Ball State in '98. He lives in Illinois. But this has been just wonderful. I've enjoyed the day. There are many things I could say, but I won't be like Daddy. My daddy was a preacher. And could he preach? And he preached to all of us. There were 10 children, and Dad preached to us. And Mom was his sidekick. And believe me, she could preach as well as Daddy could. But she sang and he played the piano. And it was so good because he had 3 points that he indwelled in us. I mean, he badgered us with those points. Be the best was one. Don't quit. It's number 2. The third one, I don't remember exactly the title, very short, but what is it? It starts with finish. I looked it up on the computer last night, and I can't remember exactly, but it's, if a task is once begun, never leave it till it's done. Be the labor, great or small. Do it well, period. Not at all, but period. Do it well. And we were expected to do well, and we complied. And I'm hoping that everyone in this room is doing the same and thinking the same as I am. I'm retired now. Thank God for that. There are good things about retirement. You can do some of the things that you really have always wanted to do in life. I didn't have such a great experience as I expected to have at Ball State. But some of the things that I did, hopefully, have opened doors and windows for many of the Blacks and others. That has been my intention all along, to make the road smoother for the ones that I'm leaving behind. Anyway, God bless you. I thank all of you, and it has been a great day.
Once again, congratulations, Ms. Ella. It was a privilege to serve on this committee along with Kyle Williams and David Jones. I think this is probably the 3rd time that David and Kyle have served on this selection committee, and it's never easy. Mr. Michael Beard is our final recipient, and he was not able to join us today, and we will present his award at a later time. I would now like to call to the main stage a fellow Black Alumni Constituent Society board member, Mr. Brent Lyle. And Brent has not only served on the board, but he has also actively served on this reunion committee. So Brent, thank you so much for answering my late phone calls and early text messages.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in the room, everyone online, thank you for attending throughout this wonderful day. We couldn't have done it without the help of a lot of different people. But as we close the evening, I just wanted to give a few notes of housekeeping, primarily that upon the completion of this event via email, you'll receive a survey of some sort. And in that document, we hope that you would answer honestly so that you'll provide us different ways to improve our mechanism should we be forced to do this again. And so that we don't have to do this again, please make sure you mask up and become vaccinated because new variants are coming out every day and we want to prevent this from being the way that the world has to work here forward. In addition to a survey that we ask you to complete, again, you'll get it via email. In that, you'll also have an opportunity to submit photos from your days, perhaps at Ball State, whether as a student, a faculty, alumni, community member, but all of the different interactions that you've had as a person of color in Muncie and to the Ball State community. We would love to see evidence of those so that eventually we can put them into the archives as well for the students and the generations that will attend the university and become affiliated with Ball State and Muncie in the decades and decades that are yet to be seen. So again, the completion of your survey, we ask that you would submit photos. So go through your Facebooks, go through your phones, go through your photo albums, scan them, take pictures of them, upload them when you get the link. And we would love, love, love to see all of the fun and the memories and the different facilities that used to exist on campus should they no longer be here. And then finally, for those who did attend, here's just a point of reference. As was mentioned earlier by Dr. Jeter, we've had more people register for this particular virtual hybrid event than any other Black alumni event. So round of applause to us, to the team, to all of you, because I think that speaks volumes about the people, about our intentionality, about our willingness to participate, about defying the odds to say that, people of color, Black people don't do things. It's simply not true. And this is another opportunity to prove that wrong. So for those who did register, for those of you under the sound of my voice, you will have an opportunity to win what we're calling a swag sack. That includes a bunch of Ball State memorabilia, some other items that represent your time at the university, points of pride. So we've got a couple of those to give away at random. So again, you've got a survey coming to you, you've got photos that you need to submit, and then you've got an opportunity to win some amazing Ball State pride items. So we love you. We thank you for your attendance today, and I'll pass it to Dr. Jeter to close us out.
Thank you, Brent. At this point in time, I'm not going to close you out just yet because Stefan's going to show something from the link. And I know Mr. Hughes doesn't know about this, but we're going to show a snippet of his interview from way back when. And so this would be great to take a look at. This platform is awesome. I don't know how everyone coordinated this platform, but it was done. And I know there were some challenges earlier today, but it was great to see our awardees up there receiving their awards and showing their awards. So it has worked when it needed to work, right? So we're thankful for that. And if you've not gone on this platform, take a look. It has some wonderful things in it. I understand some of the brothers have hung out in the Divine Nine space all day. That's where they've been hanging out. And that's okay. They've been participating. Hopefully they were able to look at some of the activities and the speeches and the women's panel to Stacy's talk earlier, and of course Trustees Hall's talk this evening, because we certainly heard some very encouraging things and some work that we need to continue. So having said that, Stefan's still working on it. While he's still working on it, I'm going to have a few comments here. Definitely want to thank Jamie Acton from the Alumni Association. He has gone through a baptism by fire last several weeks, and we definitely appreciate his patience. And he was learning as he was going. So I know Stefan and Monique have been hopping. I have never seen that many emails from Jamie. But, so he was, very busy. We kept him very busy. So thank you for your support. And, so let's give him a hand. And then we want to thank Stefan Jones, who's our first vice president, and Monique Armstrong. I believe they have done a stellar job in coordinating a virtual event, which we've never had, and a face-to-face event at the same time. So they pulled it off, and we thank you so much because we know it's not easy. And so we thank you for sticking with it, right? Sticking with it and continuing. Because there could have been many opportunities that you said, I think this is too tough, so let's just forget about it and move on. But I'm glad that they worked together and they were able to pull this off. So, having said that, listen up.
2017. I am interviewing Mr. Hollis Hughes today on Ball State University's campus in the Burkhart Building. This interview is part of the African American Alumni Oral History Project. Mr. Hughes, thank you for coming to the interview this morning. Can you please tell me when and where you were born?
For inviting me. I was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1943, March 14th, 1943.
And how long did you live in Tulsa, Oklahoma?
I think, well, as I recall, I think we moved to South Bend when I was about 7 years old.
So when you moved to South Bend, did you stay in South Bend for the remainder of your childhood, or did you continue to move around?
I stayed in South Bend for the remainder of my childhood until coming here to Ball State. But prior to that, during the summers, I'd go back to Oklahoma almost every summer until I think I was about 14 or 15, and friends in South Bend were more important than going to visit grandmother.
Mm-hmm. So did you have other family members still in Oklahoma, or was your grandmother the only relative in Oklahoma?
No, I had several cousins that lived, aunts and uncles that lived in Tulsa, but we would go back and spend time with.
And what was the deciding factor for your family to move from Tulsa to South Bend?
Well, back in the 40s and when we moved to South Bend, early 50s, while Tulsa, Oklahoma was still a fairly segregated community. Schools were all segregated. Even the downtown areas of most communities were segregated at that point. And my dad said he had had enough, did not want his sons to grow up in that kind of condition. And he also told me that he wanted us to be able to get a good education. And I have to smile at that because the cousins that I left behind are graduates of the University of Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. So I guess it's still possible to get a good education here.
Did you personally experience any of the segregation in grade school?
I left there when I think I was about the third grade. And I mean, in terms of experiencing segregation, there were no white students. So yes, I mean, they were all black schools. Yes, I guess I did experience it, but sort of pleasant experience at that time, at that age.
And how did your move to Indiana look differently than your life in Tulsa?
Well, a big part of it was the change in climate. Oklahoma was not nearly as cold, did not get the level of snow it did in Indiana. What I found, which was fairly interesting, was that when we moved to South Bend, supposedly schools were integrated. I think the school that I attended in South Bend, at Linden Elementary School, maybe there were 5 to 7 white students in the whole school. All of the rest were African American.
Okay. And did you go to a private or a public school in South Bend?
I attended public schools in South Bend.
Okay. And what was the name of your high school?
The name of my high school was South Bend Central High School.
And what do you remember most about your experience in high school?
Well, in terms of, it was a very integrated experience. There were lots of white students, and in most classes, unlike elementary school, you were no longer in the majority, you were in the minority in almost every class that you were in high school. That was one of the significant differences. It was a fairly friendly environment. We had very few problems in school with students, as far as students having problems because of race. Everybody was, at that time, fairly focused on school, and we had youngsters who came from really interesting backgrounds. We had a group of students that were, at that time, interestingly enough, bused into South Bend Central from a little community called Ardmore. They were basically all white, and most of them were, if you can use they were migrants from Tennessee and Kentucky and places like that. So it was a different culture, but still we seemed to get along fairly well.
Were you involved in any extracurricular activities or athletics in high school?
Well, we tried to be. In high school, I tried out for basketball like everybody else in the school. Never made the team. In 3 years, I always made it to the last cut, but never made the team. Played a lot of intramural basketball. I also tried my hand at football and found out that I really didn't like to hit people, and more importantly, did not like to be hit. With one season of football, Ed's rule was that you couldn't quit. At the end of that season, I decided football was not the sport for me. And because I was a swimmer, I thought I would swim. I went out for the swimming team and have the distinction of bending both collarbones because I improperly used a bad breaststroke and overextended the stroke, bent both collarbones, and the doc gave me a choice of breaking and resetting them to continue competitive swimming, and I told him that was not a choice. Take me up and we go on from there.
I'm at Ball State University, so I can appreciate that story. Now, I want to touch on your involvement in the swim team.
Okay.
Oftentimes, African Americans are not in swim programs. Were there a lot of African American students in the swim team at your high school?
There were 3 of us, and 2 of them swam varsity. As I said, didn't quite make it. Got injured before I even really had a chance to compete. So I had a really short swimming career.
And then do you feel as if there were any segregation on the swim team with either yourself or your two teammates?
I didn't notice any segregation on our team, but it was a small team, and I didn't see any particular differences. The pool that we did not have a swimming pool at our high school, and we used a city pool. What I do recall is when I first came to South Bend, I suggested to some friends in my neighborhood that we go swimming, and they looked at me like I was an alien and said, "What are you trying to do, be white?" And I didn't quite understand that. My dad had been a swimming instructor during the service. He was one of the few black swimming instructors. And so I knew how to swim. Most of them didn't. And the pool that we used, which was called the natatorium, had been segregated. Blacks were only allowed to swim on certain days. They were allowed to swim on Mondays. And I later was told that the reason we were allowed to swim on Mondays was because they drained the pool on Tuesdays. In those days, I guess the filtration systems were not real good, and they really did drain the pool. Mm-hmm. But that was, by the time I was really cared about, the pools were segregated. They were no longer segregated. They were integrated.
And did you learn how to swim from your father?
Yes.
Okay. And do you have any brothers and sisters?
I have one brother who was a basketball player, played in elementary and went on and played on his high school team, and then went off to college on a basketball scholarship.
Okay. And could you tell me the names of your parents and your brother so we have it on our record?
Okay. My dad was Hollis E. Hughes Sr. So that one's fairly easy. My mother's name was Suzanne Marie, and her maiden name was Bromell. Both were from Oklahoma. And my brother is Wade D. Hughes, Darwin Hughes, and he lives in California now.
Okay. So we touched on your extracurriculars in high school.
One item that I didn't mention
Yes.
was I had a real interest in singing and participated in junior high in the Glee Club.
If you want to hear the rest of it, you gotta click on the link. There's about an hour and 43 minutes to this interview, and there are about 70 videos of, interviews.
From various years.
Various years.
Even older than some.
All right. So that was Hollis Hughes. I know he was surprised to see himself up there on the big screen. But yeah, so we want all of you guys to click on the links, a lot of information about the history of Black alumni from Ball State University. I want to thank our sponsors again, First Merchants Bank, Dr. Demelia Williams, and the Office of Institutional Excellence for your financial support. I want to congratulate the award recipients, and I want to encourage Black alumni to support the scholarship funds. I thank everyone for coming to the reunion. Thank all of those who participated virtually. And we want to encourage anyone to hang around, enjoy the music and dance. Are we dancing here?
Yes.
We are? Okay. That's your finger right there, don't you? Okay, kids. Okay, hospitality suite after the dance. I remember all of our reunions, and Alan would always host a hospitality suite. And so after they would have the reunions, they had all this liquor left, right? And that was from years of liquor. And I just threw those bottles out of my garage in the trash this week. I said, why didn't I keep those? Or why didn't I drink those? Better yet. But they've been sitting there so long, so I wasn't going to try that. But so thank you for serving the hospitality suite over the years. And so with that said, I think we're going to end our reunion, right? Anything else from our co-chairs? You want to have a couple of words about your experience here, or? Sure.
So once again, once this main session goes dark and you're no longer there, the website, the platform is available to everybody that's registered for the next 30 days. So you have the time to go back and come revisit that link and see the past presentation of this event. You have the time to go click on those videos, those direct links. And again, a lot of those I actually got from Ball State's website, just went through the trouble of finding exactly where to go look for those at. And so I encourage you, because they're starting to do a good job, but they're digitizing a lot of the history and for that. On the other things to make sure, again, besides the sponsors, but there is two key buttons I wanted to point you out to. So over on the navigation bar, all the way down at the bottom, you see donate. I say again, donate. Our students need your support. And if you've been here at Ball State at any period of time, there's not a student I know that does not need help. Our book scholarship does wonders. And Sue Taylor, who's here tonight, can tell you stories that she's called me up and told us stories, and the difference you, the alumni, have made in people's lives. Our endowment scholarship has to stay supported in order for it to be endowed. So it takes your support. And in many years, it's been the chosen few who have kept those scholarships going. And now we're calling on you to step up. We can exceed what we've been doing and do more. Now that we have a multicultural center, it's time for you to get connected. So Cardinal Connect is one of the exhibits. I need you to get connected. If you are an alumni and you have a job, you have a story, you need to get connected so these students know that you are out there. If you're on LinkedIn and you don't have a profile and you have a job, you need to get connected. and tell people that you're a Ball State alumni, because I am connected with quite a few. And if I see or talk to a student and you have a background, I am going to connect with you to help them. We have to start reaching out more. Don't blame it on the mayors. Don't blame it on your president. Don't blame it on your governor. Wherever you're located at, if you're not involved, now is the time. Now is the time. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate your support.
Thank you, President Jeter, for trusting us to serve as co-chairs of our first virtual reunion. I am so excited that we are getting ready to engage for the next 30 days using the platform only. I would like to take a point of privilege and speak to why my Ball State experience was special. My Ball State experience actually started as a girl with my father. My dad attended Ball State and is a charter member of Lambda Beta chapter of Phi Beta Sigma fraternity here on campus. And as a girl, I would come to campus and go to step shows. I saw like Cheryl Underwood at a comedy show when I was like 11. My dad would judge step shows, so I just love being in the space of Ball Gym and seeing all these young and fly people with their gumbo cuts and baggy clothes. And so I felt as if Ball State was a part of my raising, but Ball State was just a little too close to home for me. So I hopped down to Butler and got my bachelor's degree there, but I came back for graduate school. And my graduate experience was spectacular here at Ball State. There were people like the late Dr. Linda Keys that invested in me and my education as a graduate assistant. I had the privilege of joining Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and I had a wonderful postgraduate Greek experience here. And then I became a professional, and over 120 Ball State University students would support the volunteer efforts of Motivate Our Minds when I was there as a professional. And because Ball State continued to give back to me and Ball State continued to give back to our community, I continued to give back to Ball State today. And I spoke to my experience as a girl, but as an adult, my husband is a two-time Ball State alum as well. And I would like to take the point of privilege in thanking my husband for lending me out to the Ball State Alumni Association for this time. When I spoke earlier of late phone calls to Brent and early text messages, there were all day phone calls and text messages going between Stefan and I and Dr. Jeter and of course Jamie. You have been very good to us, and thank you very much for your ideas and your solution-oriented approach to our hopes of achieving a great virtual reunion. So thank you for thinking outside the box and being a mediator at times as well. So now it's time to go, but I want to remind you all that we want to do it bigger and better every time we step to the main stage. So Brent asked you all to complete your surveys. We need you all to complete your surveys because we cannot see ourselves in order to improve ourselves. We need you to do that for us. We also need you to tell us not only what we could do better, but what we didn't do so well. You know, we had a few technical glitches earlier. I mean, that's to be expected, but let's be a little proactive and learn our lessons next time. And we hope to be in person fully next time, but there may not be everyone that can join us that way. So it may be a situation in which we want to have our folks in California be able to attend virtually and participate in the party and the panel and maybe even a little reunion of their own. So complete your survey. We have swag sacks to give. Send us your photographs and we will see you all next time, right? Oh, yes, homecoming is, and Jamie's taking a selfie. October what? October 23rd is homecoming. We will be here at Ball State University, October 23rd for homecoming.